Welcome back to the Hoopers Almanac. And this week we're going to cover a bunch of different things. We're going to start with the recap of Celtics Hornets that just wrapped up here on Tuesday night. Celtics pulled off a win against the Hornets to kind of put themselves in a good position for the 2 seed. Hornets drop back down to the 9 seed in the East, but we'll get into the semantics of everything there. We're also going to talk about the national championship game that happened last night in college basketball. Michigan taking down UConn. Very fun game. And then we're going to get into Adam and I's awards for the season. We're all going to just do the individual ones. We're not doing all NBA, all defense, because we could be for 14 hours and no one wants to hear us ramble on for that long.
And there's more games. We want to wait and see what happens at the very end.
Is also true. And then we're also going to, somewhere in the middle there, talk about the Lakers and how everything fell apart for them after we said everything was going well for them. Did Mitchell spread some karma? Possibly. Some fairy dust that went off in the wrong direction. But before we get going, here are our friends from Green Top. Adam, I think you and I have talked about so many teams in the basketball world, and I think we've talked about the Celtics in time since Tatum's return, and it might have been just the night after he returned. It felt like tonight was a good night to just be like, hey, let's watch the Celtics Hornets, record after that, and you were the one who sent it, and we'll just see like, hey, what comes of this game. And I think we were treated to a pretty good game tonight.
We were, and a game that I'm watching as a neutral, right? You're obviously watching as a Celtics fan. I'm like, man, I just really hope that the Hornets get in the playoffs so we can see them kind of in the crucible of the playoffs, and this would be a really fun series. It's very possible this could be the 2-7 still. You mentioned that kind of like jumble of teams there from kind of 6 to 10 in the East. They're all pretty good. They all have kind of their merits, but they all have some flaws too. And I thought the Hornets' lack of depth showed today, and I thought that was a real strength for Boston today. Another really good Jaylen Brown game. LaMelo Ball, unbelievable in the first 3 quarters, and then pretty quiet in the fourth. But I mean, LaMelo was like incredible in the first 3 quarters. But yeah, I thought the lack of depth showed for sure, and that's where you guys just kind of wore them down over time.
I think. Well, so you bring up depth. All 4 of their starters played over 32 minutes, and then Grant Williams is like their main other bench guy, and he was. Listen, I've lived the Grant Williams fandom life, and I hate every second of it. But you're right. Outside of him, Kalkbrenner is just out there to be a big body. Sion James is a defender, going 1 for 7 tonight, and then you get the 2 minutes of what's left of Pat Connaughton's bones and Josh Green, who, listen, I think he's a fine guy. I wish he was better. I wish he would play more because he was important to that Mavericks team that made the finals in 24. But still, I don't know where he went. Wait, no, he wasn't even on the Mavericks team in 24. I take it back. He was in Charlotte. Or was he?
We also – no, I actually think he was on that team.
You're right.
We also did not get Kobe White tonight, which is a huge miss for Charlotte. And it was a scoring bunch. That's why we had so much Sion James. Because there was a moment where I was like, man, he is playing a lot. And I was like, oh yeah, duh, Kobe White's out. Like they showed him on the right side, and he's like in street clothes. I was like, okay, that makes a lot more sense. But yeah, 1 for 7, like you said, rough night from him shooting. And they just kind of lacked another punch, some scoring punch. And look, Moussa Diabate, really fun player, really fun story. But he's a flawed player, and I think it's shown in some of these high leverage games. Like, okay, if you really, really focus, kind of like remove his one superpower, which is the rebounding, and you just kind of really focus on that, keeping him off the glass. He gets the ball, and no one is even guarding him. When he has it around the elbow, the top of the key, it's like, people are playing, 10, 12 feet off of him. So that's really kind of junking up their spacing a bit. So that is a spot that I think they can kind of improve as they go forward. But their main 3 or 4 guys are really good. And Khan had, his moments tonight, and he's obviously had an incredible rookie season. But they're a player away from being a serious contender. But I really hope they get in the playoffs because I think that'd be a great test for them. And they deserve it. The back half of the season, they've been one of the best teams in the East. So I really hope they get in.
I totally agree. They have been super fun to just watch. Tonight was a bad Con game offensively. You just see his hustle, though, throughout the entirety of the game, too. So it's just different. And And you brought up LaMelo, and listen, I think he had a great game, but you mentioned this too. The disappearing act in the fourth quarter just was like, where the heck is he? Brandon Miller and him didn't score a point until like the last 3 minutes of the fourth quarter. And so it just sucks whenever your two best scorers just don't show up in that fourth. And so that's why they only end up with 15 points in that fourth quarter. They started so hot in the first go up 11, and I immediately started shitting myself. I'm like, oh God, what's happening? And then we kind of reeled it back. The Celtics reeled it back in. I say we, like I was part of the team. I'm not. I'm going to switch to the Celtics real quick and say, Tatum, it's good to have you back. I enjoy watching you play basketball. I'm ready for the Nikola Vucevic time to be done. I'm ready for him to be no longer on my basketball court and to have Luka Garza be playing over him, because he is the definition of a traffic cone out there on defense, and the drop coverage. And that's what LaMelo was killing them with. And listen, I mean, that's just what the Celtics do. They do. It's what, I don't know what it is, but the sense that like, hey, Vooch is out there. Oh, it's just even more wide open than Kata. I don't get it, but it just is, and it's just terrible, and I can't stand it.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, like, okay, we know he's not good defensively at this point in his career. He's never really been that great, but okay, well, the trade-off, in most of his career is like, well, he's giving you really, high-level offense. Not tonight. 0 for 5 from 3, 1 for 10 from the field overall. I mean, he looks cooked, man. I don't see him being a main part of the playoff rotation. I mean, maybe they'll just give him a chance because it's like one of those things where I don't know. I don't think the Celtics are this dumb to think this way, but there's a lot of teams who are like, well, we spent like a big thing on him, so I guess we got to play him. It's like the Celtics are smart enough to be like, no, it's just like it's time to cut bait. This is done. It's not working. It's fine, So like the Thunder did with Gordon Hayward, a couple years ago. It's just like, you know what, like that didn't work. Cut it off. It's over. And that's fine. But yeah, he looks cooked. Garza, yeah, DMP tonight. Yeah, he could have easily taken all those minutes. I mean, it wasn't like Vooch was only out there for a few minutes. He had 23 minutes. Like that's almost half the game. Just too much.
He was a negative. I looked at a negative 15 at one point in the third quarter. And then the fourth quarter starts, we start pulling it back in, and he's playing a lot of that early fourth quarter when we're reeling it back in. So that's how he ends up at a +1. That's why I think plus minus is just so deceiving sometimes. But just because the fact
single game, it's very deceiving. Yeah.
Tatum and Brown were like a big part of like why we even reeled it back in the top of the fourth. It wasn't him. He had some good tip outs. I'll give him that. But I think, there were the questions of whether or not this offense would struggle or like falter whenever Tatum returned. That's just not the case. We've seen how well this team can play. This was a lower assist night for Tatum, and yet he still has 4 assists and still makes an impact everywhere on an efficient shooting night. Tonight felt like a Jaylen Brown game of like 3 years ago, but more efficient version of that, because it felt like he was just like, hey, I'm going to headhunt everybody and just put my head down and not even look at some guys and just go to the basket. And again, like I said, he's got a better touchdown than he did 3 years ago, but man, there were just some shots that I'm like, what are you thinking? And it's just, it feels like I worry that we'll have one game a series in the playoffs where it's just like this.
Yeah. And I mean, there's a little bit of me. It's like he's earned that this year,
Sure.
And it's like, that's, you just got to kind of live with that sometimes. But yeah, I mean, 13 and 29 overall. I mean, overall he played well. I mean, 9 boards, like he had a good game. But there were definitely some tunnel vision possessions there for sure. I actually wanted to ask you, I have one kind of like fun random question, historical question, and then one more this season. So for this season, okay, let's say it's game 7 of the second round against the Knicks, right? You're playing the Knicks. It's in Boston. It's game 7, and you can only play 7 players. Which 7 are you playing? You're playing the 5 starters. Who are the 2 other players you're playing?
Personally, I mean, it's Pritchard, and then hold on. Yeah. Can I not play Hauser?
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, yeah. So you want to say, so you're obviously going to play Tatum, Kata, Brown, White. No question. You're obviously going to play, and Pritchard. You're obviously going to play those 5. So who are the other 2 you're going to play?
I think I would play Walsh and Shireman. And if not Shireman, Hugo. Hugo would replace one of those 2 guys. I just wish he'd get more run, but they don't. but it would probably be Shireman and Walsh, because I think Walsh tonight showed how good a defender he is, even in the moments like where LaMelo is making ridiculous shots. He just shows how big and lanky he can be against guys, and he just gives so much effort. Shireman, same thing, and he's just a man. Hauser's also had moments this year where I'm like, okay, you can make shots that aren't threes, and I'm proud to see that. But Shireman just has like a different energy about him, and I don't know what it is, but I would want to see him more in like a playoff setting than I would Hauser, because I've seen Hauser falter so many times in the playoffs, and I just don't want to see it again with him. So give me, I would like to see Shireman like with a chance to show off what he can do.
Okay, and I know some of this is like matchup dependent. I guess I said the Knicks. It's like you might need another big in there just because,
right?
You're Robinson and Karl-Anthony Towns, but yeah. In general, I think that 7, that makes some sense. But okay, then the other thing, okay, so we've joked before about how the Celtics they're running out of digits, right? Because they have so many players who are retired and stuff like that. So the single digit numbers that they have retired, which I got to pull up the list again. Obviously, we've hit a point now where Tatum and Brown are going to have their jerseys retired.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What would so they have 00 retired. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7 will be Brown. And then obviously just 1, 0 is going to be Tatum. So all they have left, then nobody can wear anything except 8 and 9. Those will be the only single digits left. Yeah. Derek White wears 9 right now. What would Derek White have to do to get his jersey retired?
All right, so he's been with the Celtics since 22, so that's 3.5 years basically, because he joined at the deadline.
4.5. This would be 4.5.
Yes, sorry, I can't do math. Play for Boston for probably 2-3 years, 2 or 3 more years. Like make it to 7 seasons. Make it to 7 with the team,
and probably win another. I would think
you'd have to be like because he's currently our 3rd best player. He's third.
Yes.
He's the Boston's
he's awesome. I love Derek White.
He's phenomenal, and his defense is ridiculous. He's got so many highlights. The 23 in 2023, the Eastern Conference Finals, Game 6 tip-in against Miami will forever just go down in infamy, and it's just one of those moments like that only happens for Boston. So, man, play 7 total seasons with Boston, and then win another title. But again, that another title is going to be really tough with how freaking good the league is right now. So, but who knows? Maybe that's this year, and we can just mark that checkbox off the list for him.
So then at that point, if that happens, then the only single digit number left that any Celtic could ever wear is 8. And we've actually had some pretty good players wear 8 in the last 20, 25 years, right? Antoine Walker, Kemba Walker, and Porzingis. So pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think Antoine would be the only one that I'd even consider between those 3 guys.
Oh yeah, none of those guys should be retired for sure. But yeah, correct. Antoine would be the most likely. But it was like my point is like they've actually had some good players wear it. But yeah, someone comes to the team that wants a single digit, they've only got one to choose from if Derek White indeed gets his jersey retired.
Yeah, we'll see. I think that will be like one of those moments to like, shoot, we got to it, because he's such a fan favorite and he loves Boston too, and he goes to every like different sporting teams events. Like he goes to the women's soccer team. He's become a massive Red Sox fan. I think his just embrace of the city too has been super cool. So
that's how he was here too. Everybody Antonio, like apparently he was like awesome in the community. Like people I think he's just a generally just good dude.
Yeah, we'd love to see it. Anything else about this game? Well, let me just say this. Actually, you brought it up earlier. This would be a very fun playoff matchup. I mean, Missoula and Charles Lee both. I mean, Lee being a former coach of assistant coach to Missoula would be awesome just to see them battle out against each other mentally. But also, I think I think we could probably get Moose and Keita in a fight at some point. If not that, I think Shireman could be that'll be my question. Who in the Celtics, as an unbiased third party, who would be the guy you're like, oh, that makes sense that you would see get in a fight or like start a
probably
fight?
Hugo and Musa might be the one that like little Spanish on French crime there. That's we could have which we've seen before. We had the crazy I think it was a Eurobasket game. I think it was Juan Carlos Navarro and Nick Batum. And I think Batum punched him in the balls. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I will be able to find this very quickly, but yeah.
Oh my
Nick
gosh.
Batum.
Okay, so Hugo's your pick. See, the 19-year-old just throws me off a little bit, but you know what? He probably would do it. He would do it just to make Maz happy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Here it is. Yeah. It was Juan Carlos Navarro. I was correct. Yeah. French basketball player Nick Batum punched Spain's Juan Carlos Navarro right in the nads. That's what the listing of this
Oh my
video
god,
is.
hilarious.
Yeah. It's 14 years ago. Crazy. But yeah, in a Eurobasket tournament. Anyway. Yeah. No. I'll go with Hugo. But yeah, he is young, but he plays so hard. Like I could see him just like doing something weird, and Diabate just like losing his. I mean, because he kind of got into it with Tatum tonight.
He did. But and that was like really. Tatum has moments you're like, okay, he steps up for like a half, like he like pulls up for like a half a second. You're like, oh, is he actually? And he's like, oh wait, never mind, he's not doing shit.
He never did.
Yeah. So it's just one of those things you're like, okay, we're fine. Okay. Anything else about this game?
No. Do you want to go Lakers first or national championship first?
Let's do the Lakers real quick because then we'll just
not,
go with the NBA stuff. So last week we talked about the Los Angeles Lakers and how well they looked. And then everything fell apart in the Thunder versus Lakers game when Austin Reeves, like 3 seconds in, was starting to hold his hamstring. Doncic goes out, and we now have both those guys probably out for the rest of the season. And we saw, if you were watching the Hornets Celtics game, they were promoting the Lakers next game. I mean, the Lakers Thunder game. And guess who was the headlining guy for the Lakers? It was Luke Kennard. How's that make you feel?
Oh man, such a bummer. I mean, it's just injuries just suck. Like whatever your allegiances are, it's just like it's such a bummer to see like players that good who are having that good of a season just like, yep, can't play. And it's just like because of now how the season is probably going to play out, it's just like a gigantic break for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Yeah. And the Rockets too. I mean, the Rockets are like this weird team that like really probably doesn't have any business winning a playoff series against any of the other like 5 really good Western Conference teams.
Right.
Now they're going to get a chance to win a playoff series. So, it's just such a shame. Such a shame. Poor LeBron, man. He's going to have to go to battle with like his second and third best. Well, I mean, Luka's the best player on the team, but his other really good player on the team just not even available. Just, it's a shame. But, it is what it is. So we wanted to at least like address it real quick. Like, hey, I know we talked to the Lakers last week, and hey, man, they've got a shot. To now they have absolutely zero shot.
But who knows? Luka's going to get a second opinion. So if it all works out on that end, I doubt it works well, but we'll see.
Even if he comes back in what game? Let's be optimistic and say he comes back in game 4 of the first round series. I mean, what are they down 3-0? I mean, I maybe they squeak out a game without those two. I don't know because Houston's just so weird. But
no, there's no way. There's no way in my mind. I think that Houston loses a game, especially
if they're both out. Yeah,
right. And then no, they won't even have. They won't. Well, was there a chance they get home court?
Yeah, they can still have home court. Yeah, they can still have home court.
The Rockets.
Yeah. The Rockets are only a game back, aren't they? Yeah, they're only.
You're right. They're only a game back, and they play Phoenix tonight, and the Lakers are playing the Thunder. So
so they're gonna lose. Yeah,
right. That'll probably flip. Is there a small chance? There's a small chance. I can't do math right now. Clearly, that the Timberwolves could beat out the Lakers. Am I doing my math right here?
I'd have to see what they'd have to win out, and the Lakers have to lose out, which is very possible. I don't know who has the tiebreak though.
Okay, thank you. That's the only thing I needed.
Because the Wolves can get to 50 wins. They can. Yeah, they have to win their last 3.
Because that would be the other thing. If somehow Minnesota could win their last 3.
Yes.
And the Lakers would lose their last 3. Boy, would that be interesting. That would be kind of fun. Let's see. I want to try to see if I can find who has the tiebreaker. I'm getting a feeling the Lakers have the tiebreaker here.
If they do,
no. Oh yeah, the Lakers definitely have the tiebreaker. Dang it, they've won all 3 games against Minnesota.
Yeah, they can't catch them then.
All right, then never mind. Ignore my thoughts, and that's stupid of me. Okay,
the Minnesota's.
Yeah, but then again, we talked about it too. If Minnesota wins round 1, just bet them to make the conference finals. It's just their history. Okay, national championship game happened last night. UConn lost to Michigan 69-63. I don't know. Did you have a rooting interest in this game? Let me start here. You watched both Final Four games, correct?
I did. Yep. I watched all the men's and women's so I watched all 6 games this weekend. Men's and women's Final Four and championship games.
Gotcha. Who were you? I guess yeah. Let's start there. Who's the rooting interest, or did you have a rooting interest in this game at all?
No, not at all. Not in any of the games. I will say in the women's, the UCLA win was pretty cool. Kind of the more I learned about like that story and like all the seniors, they've been there forever, and that coach seems awesome. I really enjoyed her interview and talking about how she's like, I did it like I was myself. I was myself. That's a big deal for me too. It's like I'm not trying to coach like anybody else. Like because I do things a little bit differently. I'm not a yeller. I'm not a screamer. Like it's relational. I'm don't call a lot of sets. It's like I want to do things my way, and that was really cool. And her doing an interview with her mom, like that was a cool moment. I mean, that game was terrible; it absolutely destroyed them. But I really, the two men's semifinals weren't very good. The two women's semifinals were terrible, and the women's championship game was terrible. The men's championship game was pretty solid. Like there was, it was, kind of a slugfest at times, and both teams shot pretty poorly, but it was at least competitive. It was competitive.
Both teams shooting under 40% in the men's game, and then, Michigan winning, going 2 of 15 from 3, and I don't think they hit a 3 till the second half.
Yeah,
absolutely ridiculous. Listen, I mean they're the amount of guys in this game. So Lindbergh, Mara, and then Braylon Mullins for UConn. 3 guys who are supposed to go be at least first round guys in the draft. Lindenborg has his injury, so he's not looking great, and he goes 4 of 13. Mullins goes 4 of 17 for UConn, and he just looked abysmal. Fought hard on the boards, and then Mara, who I want. Listen,
I like Mara.
I knew you would say that. What's the team that Mara would be great on in the NBA? Because I have 2 teams that immediately come to mind. Like because he's slated to fall late lottery or early, like, or just past that. So like anywhere in the teens.
Okay.
I'm just trying to. I have 2 teams that I'm like, oh, this guy, perfect.
I mean, realistically, I guess if he's on one of those teams, like kind of like a low seed playoff team, he's probably a backup center right when he comes in. Atlanta.
That's one of mine, and I was like, man, Atlanta could use the size because he has a good
huge
eyes. He's got good passing, and they need the size. His hands are bricks, though. He just does not have soft hands.
Yeah, I really liked him though. I thought he just like is like a very typical like modern big man where it's like, okay, we're not, and look, obviously the college game has more post up play than the NBA game, but an NBA team is not going to like just clear out and like just dump it down to him. Like that's just not going to happen. But he showed he could move in space pretty well. He had a couple of really nice finishes with either hand. Like he was very comfortable going over either shoulder. Like I really liked a lot of what I saw from him. And then defensively, like just in the right spot at all times, like great help defender, like really solid. I actually was very impressed with him. I mean, I knew like nothing about these teams. Like I obviously I don't watch college basketball like at all. You hear the occasional name. But like I knew nothing about him. Like I saw him, I was like, oh, this guy's massive. Like it's like, oh, he's from Zaragoza. That's kind of interesting. Like let's see what he can do. And he's good. I liked him a lot. He jumped out to me. Lindeborg, I don't know. It's just one of those. Isn't he like older? Like he is like
24. He's that's like his 5th college year. Like this is one of those, and it's one of those situations of he blew up last year at UAB, and then this year he was like the big name that everyone knew. But it was just because. But it took him 3 years to like get his name out there. It was just one of those weird situations. That being said, you saw the 2 worst games of his this year just because he was hurt.
Sure, yeah, and I actually admired like how much he tried to play on that bum ankle. But I don't know, man. I mean, you should just be like physically like dominating these games if you're that much older than everybody else. He didn't really like. I wasn't like watching like, oh, that's the next great NBA wing. Like I didn't really feel that way. And then Mullins, yeah, just he
had a bad last 3 games.
Played hard. I mean, obviously hit that amazing shot. That was a heck of a moment. Like that'll live on forever. But I liked his off ball movement. Right, like he created space well. Like his gravity's there. His release is super quick. Like I mean, that's not going to be a problem. But I don't know. It just seemed like there was not a ton there. It's just like, yeah, what is this guy really like? What is his role exactly in the
Yeah.
NBA. Yeah, nobody really jumped out except Mara. He was the only one where I was like, okay, I see this. Like I see him like helping a team as a backup center. Like he's like never gonna be like an all-star. Just like like this will be a really solid backup center for somebody.
He could. So my peak was like, man, he could be a Jakob Pertl.
Yes, that's a great. I actually was just thinking that. I didn't say it out loud, but I was like, Jakob is like a perfect example of
Yep.
what he could be.
My Lindenborg, man, I totally agree with you. He is like an undersized. I mean, he's a strong like four, but he could never be he could never be a small ball five on any team. But yeah, I just feel bad that you saw just like his two worst games, and it's just one of those things that like I feel like if you saw a better game of his where he like attacks the rim, he stretches the floor very well. So yeah, I just think you just saw the two worst games of his, and then yeah, Mullins just terrible last three games. Like you said, hits the big shot, but it's like, man, timing kind of just sucked. Like catching him, and everyone bitches about the playing in a football arena, and they're just going to continue to do about it.
No, it genuinely affects. I mean, it's like you heard Michigan say, like, oh, yeah, we trained at the big house to try to get youth. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, and there's some like wide shots they show, and it's like this is just I don't know. Like, this is not how this is supposed to go. But it's like, oh, that's, we're trying to make as much money as possible. So, FIFA, same thing. They're in the same boat where I'm just like so disappointed in everything that FIFA's done in the last, well, really 20 years, but especially the last couple of months of like their ticketing stuff. It's like, it's the same concept of just like, let's just bleed this thing dry to every last dollar we can possibly make rather than like what's the best for the actual game and the people coming to watch it. But, that's neither here nor there. So this is you saying, man, I feel bad that you saw his two worst games. This is also why I don't like to parachute in. It's like, if I cannot really follow it and have a depth of opinion on this guy, like I shouldn't really have an opinion on him. You know what I mean? It's like I'm only like, and so you and I can talk right now, and this is like totally fine. Like, but I would never call myself like a draft guy because like those guys do real work where they're like really watching these dudes like day in and day out and like breaking down all sorts of film. I'm not doing that, so I'm not going to pretend like I have this like great depth of knowledge about Jaxel Lindenborg because I watched him play twice. It's like that's I shouldn't do that.
No, my question for you is because I actually don't know your process with this, and we've been friends for in-depth friends for 4 or 5 years. Do you go like watch like this stuff like getting ready for the draft, or do you like as like 2 weeks before you're like I'll do like a skim, or do you just like it's just not even out there for you?
No, because I actually think the skim is like the worst thing to do. Like I would because I think it's like you almost kind of fool yourself into thinking you know a lot about these people, but you haven't actually done the work. So I'd almost rather I'd definitely much rather do the deep dive. It's either like deep dive, nothing, skim. That'd be like my order. If I had the time for the deep dive and someone was like paying me to do it, I'd gladly do it. I actually think it's an interesting like thought experiment, and I really admire people who scout. And like I know a couple scouts. So like it's a very hard job, and seeing what translates and what doesn't. Like I actually think that's really interesting. And there are, anytime I do watch a college game, that is what I'm watching. Is like I don't really care who wins because I don't have a team. So it's like I'm watching like who can actually translate to the NBA. That's my first thought. But again, it's like I can only give you my opinions on these like 2 games that I watched, and that's a flawed way of doing it. Of just like, well, it's a very me-centric way. I think a lot of people are like, oh well, I saw this, so therefore that must be what this player's like. It's like, I didn't see everything, so I shouldn't have it. I shouldn't be able to comment on it. Now you and I are just talking as like friends about like what do you think of this game? That's different. But if you were to like have me on like a pre-draft like show or we did like that, I wouldn't pretend to like know. It's like I don't watch them, so I'm not going to pretend to know what I'm talking about.
I think great example of this is my dad. Like he loves Mizzou basketball, but he doesn't have the opportunity. Like he can't watch it all the time. So whenever I've been home, like, and we've watched games together, he does a great job of like, okay, so, and I think you do this too whenever it's like necessary, but he's like, okay, give me the rundown. Like, who should I be watching for? Who's like the big name? And then who's like the guy you should be like, who's a guy I can already be pissed off at? Like, who's a guy who's like everyone in the fan base is like already annoyed with, so that way I can join in the annoyance. So like, yeah, that's what we did when we went to March Madness. He does a great job of just like, how can I get not like almost like a Spark Notes version of some of these guys, because he does it. But whenever it like comes like tournament time, he does like a good job of. But when it's non-Mizzou sports, he's like, okay, who's the guy to know? Who's the guy I can cheer against?
Yeah, see that for just like if you're just like wanting to watch this stuff as a fan, that makes like total sense. And like I do that with like the sports that I don't like talk about. Like I watch highlights of like every NHL playoff game because I think it's thrilling. NHL playoffs are amazing, but
Right.
I'm not trying to talk about the NHL on like a platform, right? That's like being broadcast, So it's like
Right.
I don't need to like. I mean, like that's perfect. Your dad's a great example. It's like he's like I really like basketball, but I don't have like the time or the bandwidth to like follow it as closely as maybe I really want to, but I really like it still, and so I want to know what's going on. Like that's a totally like normal like person thing. It's like someone who's just like an average Spurs fan who's just like, hey, I'm really into this, but like I'm not talking about this on a platform. I'm not like a coach. Like last year when it was obvious they were going to take Dylan Harper, someone to go watch a bunch of Dylan Harper like YouTube stuff, like that makes sense. It's like just to kind of know. But I'm like, man, I almost feel like that will like lull me into this sense of like, oh, I know a lot about this person, but I don't actually. So like I'll like it'll be fake. Like I'll be talking about this person and I've just watched the same YouTube clips that everyone else has watched. It's like rather than really doing the work for it. So like when we talk about the NBA playoffs, like we talk about this Boston and Charlotte game, like I just watched it like in detail, right? Like I'm really trying to like analyze it. So I feel comfortable talking about that with you on this thing. And like when the NBA playoffs roll around, I haven't missed a playoff game in 16, 17 years. So it's like I will be able to talk about the playoffs in depth and like with like a level of knowledge because I'm watching it like really detailed. So with the things that I'm not, I'm just kind of like I almost feel like bad. Like I shouldn't even be able to talk about this because like I haven't done the work.
I get it. No, and it's fair. I think you're allowing the fact that you can have that bandwidth to just watch these games, and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna go out to these other spots. I think you just can say, hey, at least I watched it, and that way you can be like, hey, when I watched this guy in like the 2 games I watched him in college, you're like, okay,
this is what I thought.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's completely fair.
Yeah, because like you and I right now are talking strictly the Final Four. Like my thoughts on like Jackson Lindenberg as an entire prospect is like, well, that's just gonna be incomplete. I shouldn't really. But how did he play in the Final Four? We can talk about that in depth, because I watched them. So yeah, no, I hope that makes sense to people. It's like that may sound like, like it's like, oh, you're overthinking it. It's like no, but I really want to do a good job with like what I'm like
talking what you're talking about.
Yeah, just randomly. It's like I want to really like know what I'm talking about. So
makes complete sense.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now we're going to transition back to NBA, and we're going to talk about just the awards because Sunday is the last game. Monday night, actually, just to preface this, Adam, Austin, and I are going to record a talk and do our usual NBA playoff preview, draft, palooza, bonanza thing that we usually do. So I'm excited to do that. But I had you, Adam, come up with your quote unquote and award voting because we do not have award voting, unfortunately. If one day Hooper's Almanac gets a vote, I might shit myself. But until that moment happens, we are going to just do it here on the pod. And so, Adam, I'm going to just pose the award to you, have you give me your top 3, and then we'll go from there. But I
and
want
just so people know that is how these people vote. They vote for their top 3, and they pick. Or actually, no, I think it's. Is it top 5 on MVP? MVP is top 5.
It's dependent on the award. It's some awards are top 3, some are top 5.
Yes, and then when they announce the finalists, it's the top 3 of each. That's what they announce.
Correct. Yes. Are they doing the NBA honors thing again?
I don't think so, but I think they still do announce like here's the finalists if I remember correctly. Like last year, I think they did that.
Okay, I couldn't remember if they were doing that anymore or not, and I wish they would just not.
I don't
think it's necessary. I hate that there's an award show for everything, Adam. I don't need an award show for everything. Okay, let's start. I'm going to start in a different order, and I'm going to just surprise you. We're going to go random here, but I want to start. I want to start with the 6th man because this is the one I am interested in. I want you to tell me, give me your top 3, and then your winner for the 6th man of the year.
Okay, in 3rd place, I'll go 3-1. Build up a little anticipation. I had Jaime Jaquez. Bounce back season from him. Thought he was awesome for large stretches. There's times where he becomes, he's one of their main guys down the stretch of some games. So thought a nice bounce back season. Put him 3rd for my 6th man of the year. And in 2nd place, I had Naz Reid, a guy who I think some people think has had like a little bit of a down season. I don't really know why. He's been just as consistent as he was last year. Still a very good team. Still a very good player. Plugs a bunch of gaps for them. Just thought he deserved a shout out. And yeah, Naz Reid was 2nd for me. And then the 1st place, I tried to like not let any, Homer stuff slip in. And I think people will see with other awards I did not do that. But I am going to give it to Keldon Johnson. He actually is the favorite on a lot of, I didn't realize that. But after I put mine, I was like, I wonder what like other people are saying. And I actually noticed his odds are the best right now. So I don't feel as bad about that once I saw that.
So I'll say this: I realized I might have effed up by choosing one that you might be a little bit biased on, like going with the sixth man.
Yeah,
But I will tell you this: it came down to Jaime and Keldon for me. I had those two as my top two guys. Not that I didn't think Nas had a bad year. I just had him at number three. But I ended up with going Jaime over Keldon because, like you said, there are just moments where it's Jaquez and Bam. And
yeah,
especially this year when Hero's been out in and out of the lineup, it's felt like there's just been moments where Jaquez has had to do so much. And so I went with him. I also just wish that the Celtics would have benched or just moved Pritchard to the bench earlier, and I wanted a back-to-back, but we're not.
yeah, yeah. He just started way too many games. I know. I looked at him too. I was like, he's not even eligible. So,
Yeah.
yeah. No, but Keldon also, I think what you maybe who have not followed him as closely, obviously, when the Spurs were terrible, for a few years there. I mean, he was a leading scorer for a couple of years there. Like, he really has accepted it. Like, that's actually been a big deal for this team. He's still kind of the emotional leader of the team. Him kind of being like, oh, I don't care. I'll actually step back and take a 6-man role and come off the bench. Obviously he's nowhere near as good of a player as Manu Ginobili, but like the Manu Ginobili, like, hey, I'll do this if it's better for the team. Zero complaints, just plays his ass off every single night. Like, I thought that was like worthy of the award.
I totally agree. No, and I think, especially with how successful the Spurs have been, it's no in small part with how well he's been able to kind of lead that bench unit too. I mean,
yeah.
It makes complete sense. Okay. Rookie of the year. I feel like it's just a 2-man race here with Edgecombe at number 3, right?
Yeah, I put VJ at number 3, and I was like, obviously Dylan Harper's had some really good stretches, but VJ's just played way more than Dylan Harper, so I just can't. I think Dylan Harper might end up being a better player down the stretch, but that's not what the award is. So yeah, VJ at number 3, and then I put Cooper 2, Con 1. I ended up staying with Con. I know Cooper's been amazing lately. Cooper is going to be an absolute superstar. Love his game, but I love Con's game too. I think Con's been more consistent, and I actually don't think in Rookie of the Year you should count he's playing on a better team, because it's like these guys typically are drafted to shitty teams,
Right.
So that's why, so I don't really care about that. That's actually not what factored into it. I actually think he's just been more consistent. That's really been the main difference. The shooting splits are just better for Con, and the advanced stuff favor Con a little bit. So that's why I went with him.
Is the advanced stuff favor Con just because he's on a better team than Cooper?
No. I mean, really, I think because the shooting numbers, it's just like that. So
That's
his
fair.
his feet, all that stuff is just like a little bit more consistently higher as win share. So that just, I think, shifted to Con just a little bit, but it's incredibly close. And I don't think picking Cooper is wrong.
I was going to say, I mean, do you think also the fact that Jason Kidd thought playing Cooper Flag at point guard could have played a little bit of a factor into that too? I mean, I don't know.
Might have, although that might end up being good for him in his career. But
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying his number,
yes.
his shooting splits don't look.
It
too
probably
good.
has hurt his numbers. Yeah. Well, and the team is just around him. I mean,
I'll say this: I had Con over Cooper too, and Con leading the NBA in 3-pointers as a rookie is kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
And then I also just think the impact that listen, I think there are table setters, or there's just like guys who join the team and they kind of just set the tone of like, hey, here's what we're going to do. And there was a stretch early on this season where Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball were out, and Con was like, hey, I'll be the number 1 guy for a hot minute here. And he played his ass off, him and Sexton, and then even Trey Mann, and just so many different guys, Sion James, like just different guys stepped up when these guys were out. And then when Miller and Ball came back, they're like, oh, this is actually happening. Guys are buying in. And there's still like the moments where Ball is getting benched in the fourth quarters for guys like Con or anyone else. It's pretty incredible just to see how much of an impact, and not to say that he's just the one guy. I think it also factors in the fact that Charles Lee's got his second year and people are buying into the system. I just remember the stretch of early on in the games when Con was kind of like their only and their best player on the court or for these games, and he just kind of set the tone for, hey, here's what we can do as a team, and it just kind of took off from there. Especially like after the NBA Cup, after the holidays, it kind of just went. The Hornets kind of locked in.
Yeah. No, I think just it's an entire year award. It's not the last month, right? Cooper's been better lately, but it's an 82-game award.
I agree. Okay. Coach of the year.
Yeah, interesting one. Okay, in third place I had Jordan Ott. Phoenix Suns. They are just shockingly good and play so hard. And Booker's missed a decent amount of time.
No, I
Um,
agree that he deserves to be in a top three. I
yeah,
love it.
yeah, he's been awesome. And first year head coach, and they've just been a revelation. So second place, I had it down to two guys, and it was the two guys we just watched play, or coach, I guess. And it was I ended up going with Joe Mazzulla 2, Charles Lee 1.
You bitch.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, I had to. I think here's my reasoning, because the Celtics, obviously the expectations were different, but
Sure.
like they still like there's so much kind of institutional knowledge, and they're still obviously a great player. Like even when Tatum was out, that's like there was a roadmap to like this is what we do. He's been building this over years. Like let's just stay the course. Like that's like that makes sense. And again, this is not like it's splitting hairs here. It's like if someone Joe, like I don't think that's weird. But Charles Lee, I think the biggest thing that impressed me with him is how badly they started. And this is a young team that could have let go of the rope so easily.
Yep.
And just been like, you know what, one more year. We'll go into the lottery one more year. We'll just kind of figure out like some of these other teams have done. And he like would not let them do that. Like you mentioned that time when Miller and Ball are out, it's like he just didn't allow that. Like him, Khan, like these guys, like he just stayed on these dudes. And I'm just really impressed with like their level of kind of like poise in these games. And it's like he clearly has their ear. When I saw them in person, like it was kind of a tough game against the Spurs. They didn't really play that well. But I was very impressed with how he communicated with his staff, how the staff communicated with the players. The one issue I think the players need to get a bit better communicating with each other. But the staff is like all on a string, and you don't see that with every team. Like I was lucky enough to have good seats for that game. And you do not see that with every team in the NBA. But he is clearly like a great leader that these guys have all bought in. And again, they could have let go of the rope early, and they just didn't do it. So I think he deserves a shout out for that.
I understand, and I get the point. I ended up with Joe, Homer of God damn it, how Homer of me. But my whole thing was this: they're projected to be a 500 team. They win 50 games. He hasn't, and this was a year where they're like, oh, they're going to lose 30 games. Joe Mazzulla hasn't gone under 25 losses at any of his years of coaching. Crazy. But it was just one of those years you're like, everyone was like, take the gap year or it's going to be you're going to be fighting for a plan. And the fact that they're the 2 seed in the East is just like blowing every expectation out of the water. The fact that, you're right that like they had Jaylen Brown and there was a lot of like, oh, this could be his year to prove he's the number one option. Not a lot of people thought it was actually going to happen, and not a lot of people thought he was going to average 29 points until Tatum returned. So, and my other thing is this: the Celtics gave up on Holiday, Porzingis, Horford, all left. And they gave a shot to Keita, who we saw like spurts last year. Like, oh, yeah, this guy could be a rotational starting center, whatever. We didn't see this version of Keita.
No.
Luka Garza had been given up on, and I was ready to give up on him game 10. And then somehow Mazzulla lit a fire under his ass and said, hey, if you don't hustle on defense, you're not playing. And then Luka Garza became a semi-decent movable traffic cone. Not like a standard, like stable traffic cone, but at least it gets kicked around like it's in Toy Story 2. It's like the toys are moving it under him. My point is this: and then you gave guys like Minot, Walsh, Hugo, like all these wings and Shireman, like all the opportunity like to go start, go be big, like go make your chance, and they have all played their ass off for him. And to the tune of over 50 wins. So I went with Joe, and that's just the Homer part of me. But I think also the fact that I was so like and at the original part of the year, I was like, yeah, they could probably win 44 games. That I did not think to the fact that like, oh, Joe Mazzulla can't win less than 40 games. It just never.
Yeah. No, I yeah, it's totally fair. He's probably going to win it. Which is so funny because he thinks it's like a stupid award. Yeah, he's like, just not, like, what's he even gonna say? Like, thanks, and just like leave? I don't even know. Or will even say thank you? Who knows? But
he'll probably say thank you and thank the Lord.
Yeah, and then just like, all right, that's it. This is for the players, and let's move on. I don't think it'll be a raucous press conference when he wins that, but
God forbid.
No, he's clearly set up like an incredible like foundation there. Like it's just like they have it's like this is what we do. This is how we play. You buy in or you just don't play. Like it's just like like it's just there's no like messing around. He is a huge Pep Guardiola acolyte. I know they've become friendly and they've had conversations. And Pep is sat front row. He's very Pep. Pep is a bit more like he's a bit more of a storyteller. Like with the media and like he's a bit I mean he's weird and he says some interesting stuff and he's clearly like just like this anal like guy, but like it's not surprising that they've like gotten along like that. I can like I'm a huge Pep fan and have followed his entire career, but it's not surprising that they get along. And there's like Pep also like he's playing a different sport where like there's not a cap and you can go spend money on players and stuff like that, right. But he is very much like, okay, give me this like random youth academy product, give me this like weird formation, I'll just like make something work out of it. It's like I don't really care. Like I'm just so good that I'll raise our level. And I think Joe Mazzulla wants to be in that category too, and he might be right there.
We'll see. He's got the best winning percentage of any coach in NBA history, so.
Well, yeah, okay. And he's got a few more years to go before he gets up there with like the greats and catches.
No, I get that.
Someone like Pep, but no, I mean he's off to an incredible start of his career, and he's in the right place to do it. Right, like he's got a place and a front office that will commit to sustained excellence, and that's pretty cool.
Absolutely agree. Okay, let's knock out Defensive Player of the Year because I feel like this is pretty cut and clean, and I have Wemby.
Yes, it is Wemby. And then my second was Chet, and my third was Derek White. Actually, I had Derek White third. Yeah.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, one of the best besides D Wade, maybe the best shot blocking guard ever. He's everywhere. So good on the ball, so smart. His hands, like his anticipation is incredible. Love watching him play defense. Great team defender, great one-on-one defender. And then Chet's a monster, man. Like the closer you watch him, like on defense, like, yeah, I mean, he's just, if he had like a bit more bulk, he'd be even better around the rim because he does get bumped back a little bit, but he's so good defensively. And, I get spoiled watching Wemby, pretty much every game, but Chet is a damn good defensive player and deserves the second spot.
If Wemby didn't exist, this would be Chet's award for like the next few years. Unfortunately, Wemby exists, and now it's going to be Wemby's award for the next like decade.
As long as he plays one more game, and you get it, Wemby.
Yes, sir. Although who knows with all these appeals, this could like get screwed up. Okay. Let's see. Did you do clutch?
I didn't. I mean, I guess Shea. He's hit a bunch of tough shots. And
I was gonna say it's Shea and Ant for me mostly, but I mean,
yeah.
So
I didn't do that one. No.
Okay, cool. Last two. Most improved. This one, I will say that there are 4 guys that you could put in this award, and if whatever combination of these 4 would be great, but as long as 2 of these 4 are in your voting, I'll be a happy man.
Yeah, I actually probably have a guy that you might not have. My third place guy is Peyton Pritchard. Because I think it is legit hard to do what he has done this season, where it's like, okay, here's your role for a part of it, here's your role for another part, here's your role for another part, here's your role for another part, and he just stays the course, right? And then Tatum's gravity not being there made me think, okay, like this guy, like what can he really like thrive as like kind of the number 2 option on a team, and then at times number 1 option when Brown was on the bench before Tatum came back, and it's like, oh no, he very much can. He very much can do that. He's a legitimate great scorer, and I actually think that shows improvement. Right, you get all these different responsibilities, and your play not only does it not drop off, it improves. So it's like that's kind of like the whole point of the award to me. But my number 2 is Jalen Duren, who went from like really nice center, who like, oh wow, I really like this guy, he's gonna be good, to like, oh my God, this guy's like a top 15 player in the league. He's incredible. I have to really like think about that before he's actually top 15, but he's going to be all NBA, no question. And he's phenomenal. I also am so excited for him to play for Team USA. I think he's like nailed to be the center for Team USA, and he's going to be a monster in that. So we'll very much enjoy rooting for Jalen Duren on USA basketball. And then I think the obvious winner is Nickeil Alexander-Walker. That was the one for me. I mean, he's turned into like an all-star. Like he's so good. He's gone from like nice role player with the Wolves, like an afterthought in his first couple stops, nice role player at the Wolves to okay, like this is a guy. This is a guy
He
we can
has to
like
be starting on
legitimately.
any team.
Yes, like on like a legit playoff team. Like he's that good. I saw him in one of his biggest games of the year in San Antonio. Just went nuts in that game. I think he had 41. Played great defense. It's like I was like, good lord, where does this come from? Hitting incredibly difficult shots. He's fun to watch. Obviously he's Shea's cousin, so that's kind of cool too. But yeah, speaking of Olympics, that Canada team, that team is starting to look nastier and nastier the more these
Do
guys
they
improve.
have size?
Not really. That's the one flaw. That's the
The
one flaw.
big flaw. They just
Yes.
don't have size.
Yes, and they're gonna have to go up against like Wemby and Jokic. So that's
And
gonna
Duran.
be tough. And Duran, yeah, Duran, Chet, yeah. So no, it's gonna be it's gonna be tough. But no, their guards and their wings are incredible.
No, I won't disagree with that. No, I replaced Pritchard with Jalen Johnson, mostly because I think it's one of those times where you saw how good he was at the end of last year, like, and how good he can be. Like, okay, there's something here with him. And you saw him at the beginning of this year. You're like, even when Trae Young was out and then coming back into the lineup, you were like, okay, what are we going to actually get? The second Trae Young got traded, you saw how much like Jalen Johnson impacted this team. I totally agree with you that Nas the same situation. Like, you saw these two just like, hey, it's our time now to kind of take over here in Atlanta. Even Okongwu was like just a big revelation for them too. But I think you saw how much Jalen Johnson impacts that offense, and in turn, not having to have a 6 foot like small point guard out there to not be just like your like leader of everything and then try to hide him. Jalen Johnson's a pretty good defender, decent, not like crazy good, but like he can hold his own, and then also just like runs the offense. He's not like an incredible shooter, a good shooter, but it's just one of those moments like he's 6'9", runs the offense basically for this team. It's him and Alexander Walker and McCollum. I don't know. You saw the impact of once Trae Young left, you saw how well Jalen Johnson was. I had Duran as my number one though, especially just what we've seen with him, how well he's played since Cade's been out. They're still winning games. Dennis Jenkins is a big part of that too, but I think Duran is just a revelation with how well he's played this season. I think we said it a few months ago whenever we talked about the Pistons. He's been incredible, better than I ever kind of expected, and just this jump he had from last year to this year is pretty special. So I think I have him winning Alexander Walker 2, Jalen Johnson 3.
Yeah, Jalen Johnson, another one I thought about, but I my one hesitancy with putting him on was we did kind of see this at the end of last year. So that's why I was kind of like, okay, like, like we had the blueprint already for this, and he just continued, right? So, yeah, he's so good. I love Jalen Johnson. The Hawks are really fun. I still like, yeah, that's going to be a scary playoff team. We'll talk about them next week, but yeah, I having Naw and Jalen Duran 1-2, I think is right. It should be one of those two.
Yeah. All right. Final one, MVP.
Yep.
Are all three of your options international players?
They sure are.
Okay. I am very curious in which order.
So in third place, I have Victor Wembanyama. Okay. In second place, Nikola Jokic, and the winner, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Have you? I guess you don't have TikTok, so you can't see the crap you were getting from last week's episode, calling SGA on the same level as Kobe and Jordan as a elite scorer.
Yeah. I knew that was going to happen. I don't care. People don't like to accept like change and new things being on the same level of like their favorite players, right? It's like, right. I don't think he's a better player than Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant. Like he could one day, pass them if he just continues this like ridiculous pace. I don't think that'll happen, but what he's doing right now is on the level of those two players. It just is. It's more efficient than Kobe. And it's on the level of MJ. Now MJ is a better overall player, no question, but right. But it is on that level. And I knew when I said that, I was like, I don't really care, because I think people are not going to take what I'm saying like at face value. It's going to be like, what, you think he's as good as? It's like, no, it's not what I said. But as a scorer, it's more efficient than Kobe.
No, I definitely agree with you. And I think what's great is that the comment section is the SGA haters versus the SGA lovers. This is probably one of the most like commented posts we've had. It's kind of funny, but yeah, it's just one of those things. I'm like, good Lord, these men. No, I have SGA one. I had the same order as you. Listen, I think this is Wemby's award, and he's going to be in the top 3 voting as long as he plays 65 games for the next 10 years. Like he it feels like one of those things where it's him and LeBron. Like it's just very LeBron-esque of like, hey, he's just going to be in the voting. He's going to be in the top 3 voting for a bunch of these years here. So it's going to feel like a 2K like simulation for him, which I'm just doing right now. It's just like one of those things where like Wemby's just, you can just count it like, hey, he's going to be in the top 3 voting every year. Whatever the order may be, he's just going to be a part of it.
And the minutes mattered to me. He's quite a bit lower than the other two. And I will say I was much closer to putting Jokic 1 than putting Wemby 1 or 2. Like Wemby, I think is clearly 3 to me. Jokic and Shea was incredibly close to me, and I edged Shea just a little bit, just a hair ahead. He's been a bit better over the course of the 82. Though, if I'm picking one player to win a playoff series, I'm still picking Jokic, but I still think Jokic is the best player in the world. But yeah, Shea probably said just that injury to Jokic definitely hurt him. I think if he doesn't get hurt, Jokic wins this award.
I agree. That's a good point. Okay, so recap. I'll do mine real quick. I have SGA MVP, Wemby Defensive Player of the Year, Khan Rookie of the Year, and I have Duran Most Improved, and then Jaquez Sixth Man, Joe Coach of the Year. You had SGA MVP, Wemby Defensive Player of the Year, Khan Rookie of the Year, and then you had Nickeil Alexander-Walker Most Improved, and then you had Keldon Johnson as your Sixth Man with Charles Lee as your Coach of the Year.
Yep.
Awesome. That's our awards. I don't need to do this. Oh, wait, no, hold on, Adam. I have my favorite. You're going to love this, actually. I have it written off to the side. The Mitchell Sells failed to pass the Quinn Cook test All-NBA team. You ready for this? This
Okay.
is. I want to also shout out this guy on Twitter who was really helpful with this. Hoopology XX. I appreciate you with providing the numbers for me. He classifies it as the all cone first team. I'm calling it the can't pass the Quinn Cook test all first team.
Do you want to explain the Quinn Cook test very quickly?
Yeah, I'll do that real quick. I think I've explained it a few times, but honestly, for those who have never heard it, here we go. Quinn Cook was a backup point guard on the 2016 the mid 2010s Warriors teams. Was on the 2020 Lakers team that won the title. Solid backup point guard, has decent ball handling. My Quinn Cook test theory: can you stay in front of Quinn Cook as a defender 6-7 times? Can you pass? Like, can you have a passing grade and stay in front of Quinn Cook? And it started actually with Michael Porter Jr. in 2020 when I was like, he would not pass the Quinn Cook test. And then former co-host Aaron Carter and I just ran with that forever. I have now used that as my denominator. Are you a good perimeter defender if you can stay in front of Quinn Cook? First and foremost, the honorable mention for this award is former Celtic Anthony Simons. He just got left off the Quinn Cook list. Here's his. I'm not even going to try to do it. He has a 7% defensive rating. Not great. The other nominees, here we go. At number 5, at the 5 is Nikola Vucevic, though. Holy shit! And tonight just even solidified it even more. Happy I had that as my number 5. The next 4 guys are guards, and it's just what it comes out to. We have Jordan Clarkson, Cam Thomas, Keontae George, and my personal favorite, because it's what I hope the Celtics just hunt in the entire second round, Jalen Brunson. Okay, so that's, and I appreciate him. Hoopology XX, thank you, sir, for your work and your time to the Lord and to the Quinn Cook test. Zach LaVine also was his honorable mention as the.
He just barely played. It's like hard to even. It's like, oh yeah, Zach LaVine. Yeah. There's a theme there. The kind of like offense first, like not very good defensive guards there. That makes sense. Those guys are all of the same phylum.
Yeah, it's kind of atrocious. Good Lord, we'll figure out what happens, and I hope Boston just attacks the crap out of Brunson and Clarkson anytime they're on the floor. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Next week, I kind of prefaced it earlier, we're going to have Adam's brother, Austin, other host of Johnson Magic. And we're going to talk as we do every year. We've done it for the past 4 years, I think. We're going to have a playoff draft. It's going to be our playoff almanac, actually. And going to just talk about the different matchups after all the matchups are set, and even talk about some of these playing games that happen next week. Because guess what, Adam? The playoffs start next weekend, and two weekends. And I'm so excited.
We got play-in stuff a week from right now, which we're recording this on a Tuesday night.
Good Lord.
Week from right now, we got play-in stuff. Amazing.
I'm stoked. Okay, thanks everyone for listening. Go Celtics, go Spurs. Even though they lost tonight, go Hornets, because
go Hornets.
We're giving you 2 awards on Adam's giving you 2 awards with Coach of the Year and Rookie of the Year. So whatever. Have a great rest of your week, y'all.